Once banned by TNT Motorsports for being too fast, Bigfoot 8 returns from exile to TuffTrax. He's looking for Equalizer and the world title. And USA 1 rebounds from his nasty flip a few weeks ago. Buckle up for TuffTrax. Again, everyone, I'm Scott Douglas at Flemington, New Jersey's Flemington Speedway, where the East Coast Modifieds normally tear up this track. This week, though, it's the superstars of monster truck racing as the TNT Monster Truck Challenge comes to Flemington Speedway. A week ago on TuffTrax, you may remember it. If you didn't see it, here's your chance to see possibly the most spectacular and certainly the scariest wreck in monster truck racing history. At Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, King Kong loses control, explodes in flames, it lands on a couple of police cars. Steve Kane okay, but that King Kong truck is going to be out of action for quite some time to come. Looking at it one more time because we had to show it to you again. An unbelievable run, and Army Armstrong is here with us. And Army, I don't know what we could say that these pictures don't describe.
Well, Scott, everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but all the safety equipment worked on the truck. Steve came out of it. He's okay. We're going to be looking for him again on the tour later in the year, but the big question tonight in New Jersey, look who's back in town.
Bigfoot number 8, Andy Brass, is back after being banned temporarily by TNT to allow the other trucks a chance to catch up with his technology. Earlier, Army caught up with Andy Brass. Here's what Andy had to say about trying to catch the Equalizer.
Bigfoot is back in town, and we're standing with the driver of Bigfoot, Andy Brass, a man that in this sport is under a whole lot of pressure. Andy, it's time to go to war.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we've been out of the running now for about 2.5 months, and we've lost a lot of points, and we happen to come back and get the points back to get back in the first place. There's a lot of pressure on me. I'm going to have to run the truck hard. I'm going to have to watch these guys, see how they're running, and really, you know, kind of push the truck hard. It's going to be a little hard on me, but I think we can do it.
You're going to be driving the Bigfoot number 8 truck. It's a lot different than any other monster truck on the circuit. Real quick, why is it different?
Well, we run a cantilever suspension on it. It gives us 18 inches of travel in the front, 24 in the back. You know, the truck has a lot of side-to-side roll, a lot of front-to-rear roll. You know, we do a lot of weight distribution on the truck. You know, it gets a lot of traction. It carries the front wheels, you know, and it's just like a sponge. Once it lands, it sticks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the setup from the Bigfoot operation. Right now, we're going to go over to Chris Chapman, and she's standing with the man that has designed the truck that's currently the world champion and currently the national points leader that Bigfoot's trying to catch. Chris?
Thanks, Army. I am with the man who built the number 1 truck, the Equalizer, Gary Cook. Gary Cook, the situation is you haven't been running Bigfoot 8. Can you handle him?
Well, my rookie driver, Greg Holbrook, who just started in the truck this year, he has really come along good. He's got the handle on the truck. He's getting faster every week. And I feel like, you know, that he's up to it. And we've been doing a lot of work on the truck and trying to get a lot of little things better. And I think we're going to be able to hang in there with him.
Bigfoot 8 did take some time off to let the other trucks come up to par with his machine. What type of adjustments have you made on the Equalizer to bring him up to par, if not exceed him?
Well, we've just done a lot of little things. We've put on some new shocks. We went through the motor, trying to make a little more horsepower, but at the same time, we're trying to keep the truck super reliable. I think in a deal like this, in a point race, you've got to have equipment that doesn't break. And I feel like that our equipment is good and solid. It's proved itself the last 2 years. And I believe the Bigfoot 8 truck, it's a fine engineered piece, but it may be even too engineered. I'm afraid that they might have some breakage, so I think we'll come out on top in the end.
Behind closed doors, have you and Greg sat down and come up with a strategy to beat Bigfoot 8 here in Flemington, or have you really given it much thought?
Just go flat out.
Flat out is what Equalizer and USA 1 were doing several weeks ago in Richmond, Virginia, when USA 1 took another one of his now patented spills. We're going to get a look at USA 1's problems last time we saw him, Army, in Richmond, Virginia.
Well, Scott, one of the problems the truck is having, the engineering on the truck, I want you to notice when he lands, the left front wheel actually hooks into something, and the chassis completely disintegrates, the front part of it, that is. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board like a lot of these other guys and build them a new truck, a stronger truck, and a lower center of gravity truck, I believe, Scott.
Well, you can see what happened the last time Steve Wilke drove this baby in Richmond, Virginia. They took it back, went to work, but Army, one of the big stories is that It's not a new truck that's here in Flemington. We've been told that there'd be a new truck. It's not. It's the old truck with a new dress, if you will.
Yeah, they just put a new dress on the old girl. They're going to try to run hard. What Wilke's going to try to do here is mess everybody else's night up. He's going to show them USA 1 Chevrolet is alive and well and is in Flemington, New Jersey.
And Chris Chapman is with Steve Wilke.
I'm in the pits now with driver Steve Wilke of the USA 1 truck, which we haven't seen in a while here on TuffTrax. As you'll recall, he had a violent flip in Richmond, Virginia, and we didn't think we were going to be seeing that same USA 1 truck. But Steve, isn't it the same truck?
Yeah, Chris, it is. We went back to the shop and assessed the damage and assessed how much work we'd have to do to bring the new truck. We were, again, looking to go to the next event immediately. We missed a couple of events, unfortunately. And in doing that, we got enough work done where it was actually easier to put this truck back together than to try to finish the new truck and get to the next event.
Can you possibly feel safe in this truck that has been over, I know, 8 times?
Well, Chris, I do a lot of work on the truck myself, and to me it's very important. The people who work on it I trust with my life. Greg Knudsen, my metal man and top welder at the shop, I trust him again with my life. He's an ex-mud racer. He knows what it takes. He's been in this business 10 years. He's been in it as long as Everett has. Yes, I do feel safe in the truck. If I didn't, I certainly wouldn't be here.
The word, frankly, from Steve Wilke. He feels safe in USA 1 and is ready to go. Here are the points coming into today's action at Flemington, and you can see the ground that Bigfoot 8 has to make up. He has fallen to 80 points off of Equalizer's pace. The Crusher is now a solid third. The Auto Value King, Crunch, and Gravedigger rounding out the top 5. A couple of weeks off has cost USA 1. He has dropped into the number 7 spot. Awesome Kong, Nightlife, the Outlaw, and the Buffalo Tremor also in the top 10.
This edition of TuffTrax is brought to you by Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
TuffTrax roaring your way from Flemington, New Jersey with the superstars of monster truck racing. Let's look at some qualifying round highlights as Marvin Smith brings the wild hair out of Arnold, Missouri to line up side by side with Greg Holbrook and the Equalizer. We want to watch this run very closely, and we want to keep our eyes on the Equalizer, current leader in the world points battle.
One of the big questions when we came into Flemington is, how's a rookie driver going to react to the pressure that's going to roll in with Bigfoot number 8? Well, this qualifying shot tells you something. The pressure was there. The kid missed a second set of jumps. He's going to have to go back and re-qualify. However, Scott, this kid still has 1,000 meters there. He will be a player before the night's over. Mark my word. Again, though, this qualifying run for Holbrook is not legal. What did he do wrong in the second set, Army? Well, he missed the second set of cars with both front wheels. You notice he rolls over right there. He was after it. He was into the throttle, and Marvin Smith makes a great run, but that's going to hurt him a little bit later. Where it's going to hurt him will be in the placement of the qualifying order. He'll get to re-qualify, but with a 3-second penalty. Here's Holbrook with Chris.
Greg, being disqualified, is that going to present a problem for the Equalizer team?
Yeah, because there hadn't been no slow trucks out there tonight. Usually versus slow trucks, you can still come back and make a second run with a 3-second penalty. Still qualify 7th or 8th. With night, hadn't nobody been slow.
Looked like when you came off that first set of cars that something happened in the rear end. What happened?
Yeah, the drive shaft loop, it broke it. It just made give me a funny bounce, maybe miss the second set of cars.
Good luck when you come back.
Okay, thank you.
Bigfoot 8, the story. That's the reason that man's feeling some more pressure, and that's the reason that everything kind of changes this week. Well, the Auto Value King Crunch, certainly one of the ringleaders in the anti-Bigfoot camp, the guy who earlier on this year complained probably most loudly, Army, about Bigfoot 8 being allowed to run while he took last year off. Well, he's back now, and isn't it funny that he'll have to stare against him in this qualifying round right out of the chute? Well, since all the problems started early in the year, like you explained, there's no love lost between these guys, but there is a lot of respect between Scott Stevens' camp and the Bob Chandler camp with Andy Brass doing the driving. Like you say, it's kind of ironic. They go head-to-head, and Bigfoot immediately comes out and shows what it's all about. Oh, he's in trouble. Stevens makes the clean run. Bigfoot's in trouble. Bigfoot and Holbrook. You know, you got to wonder what's going on right now. Yeah. The two best monster trucks in the world, it makes you wonder what's happening, Army, because they both are disqualified, and it was a mess for both of them on the second set. Pressure. That's
what it's all about in Flemington.
Let's watch the run again, and you can see how badly Bigfoot misses this second set. That's not even close.
Okay, what he does, it's the same lane, and both trucks are having a problem out of the same lane. Watch the rear of the truck when he comes off the first set of cars. The rear steer on this truck is turning. I noticed it just a moment ago. He drives with the front, but the rear is still going where it wants to go. Let's see if the same action takes place now.
This is his second qualifying attempt. Bigfoot comes right back. Andy Brass looking for a legal shot.
There it is. Now see, at the back pedal, keep everything straight. Good run.
Yeah, something right off that first set he's got to be careful about, obviously. And Bigfoot, with a 3-second penalty, comes in at 9:42. That means the 6:42 he covered the course in is the quickest anybody has set down, but the 3-second penalty is going to shuffle him way back in the field.
And Brass is right back to driving like he always has. He's just a street fighter type driver, full boogaloo, lays down a 6-second shot. It's going to cost him 9.
Watch right here. Look in the cab. You can see Andy really taking a beat fighting that steering wheel. Andy standing by now with Chris Chapman.
Andy, it took 2 tries to qualify. What's going on with Bigfoot?
Well, I'm not really sure. You know, the first run, the truck veered real hard to the right. We had that problem a little bit last week. You know, I watched Equalizer. He made the same thing happen to him. There's a hole in the cars, and I'm pretty sure the first run, we just hit that hole, and it just sucked us right off the cars, you know. I watched Equalizer again. His run, the same thing happened to him again. So these newer suspension trucks, it seems like when we're hitting the holes in the cars, it just pulls us one way or the other.
What type of adjustments were you making?
Well, I'm doing a little bit of shock adjustment right now, trying to compensate for it, pulling me left or right. You know, I'm going to adjust sway bar a little bit, maybe make some gearing changes.
Now the second attempt to qualify for the current World Championship points leader, Greg Holbrook, in the Equalizer out of Springfield, Tennessee. And, you know, this is obviously very critical. They'll not pick up qualifying points, but, boy, if he were to not make the field, that would be historic.
9:42 is the number he's looking for. Let's see what we get out of this. Good run. 9:42 is what Foot turned in. Remember, that really connotates back to a 6:42 right there. Look at this. Hey, we still got a ball game here, Scott.
Same range with the 3-second penalty. Equalizer comes in at 9.95. So Greg Holbrook's Equalizer putting down a good shot on his second trip through, and that was a good smooth trip for him. You see, he had no problems off the first set of cars like he did on his initial run.
You're exactly right, but I'm sitting there watching. These guys are just getting a fire beat out of them, and that was a good, smooth run for a monster truck run.
You're right. Clydesdale-Bennett Clark, the good old boy from Powder Springs, Georgia, calling the man in the black hat. Everywhere you go, you see him wearing that big black hat. And here he is, Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger, the most popular monster truck in the world out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina.
Anderson rolls out in a beautiful 51 Chevrolet sedan delivery, engine to the rear, truck on the right, red light says, go, go, go. He's going up against the Clydesdale in Georgia, new engine combination, Gravedigger.
Good looking run. Boy, I'll tell you, Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger got down there in a hurry. And Anderson had an outstanding qualifying run. Clydesdale wasn't bad, but Dennis Anderson knocking him off really by more than a length in just a qualifying session. Let's watch it again, Army.
You know, there might be something mystique about coming inside the Flemington, New Jersey Fairgrounds. We talk about how quick the normal racetrack is up here. Qualifying is super quick for these monster trucks too, Scott.
Dennis Anderson's time of 6.69 makes him the fastest qualifier of the night. Chris has got him right now.
Congratulations, Dennis, fast qualifier. Are you going to have any lane preference yet?
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to that left lane. I noticed the right lane in qualifying, threw a couple trucks to the right. I think the off-ramp is a little crooked on it or a little bit short, you know, so I'm going to stick with that left lane all night, I guess.
We've been talking about Bigfoot and Equalizer all night long. Do we need to start mentioning Gravedigger?
I don't know. Those trucks are pretty tough, you know. He's got a pretty bad shot out there, but I'm going to be hammering on the guys, you know. I'm going to try to get them. My truck is kind of outdated compared to what they have, you know. Their truck is about 2,500 pounds lighter than this truck, but we're going to give them our best shot.
Good luck to you, Dennis.
All right, thanks.
His shot was good enough in qualifying as Dennis Anderson is the fast qualifier. Here's the way the pairings will come out. Gravedigger draws Wild Hair in the first round. Clydesdale comes out against Bigfoot. Then Mike Wine brings the Outlaw, third fastest qualifier, out against the Buffalo Tremor. No problem against Nightlife in another Ford Chevrolet matchup. And then King Krunch, the Auto Value Special, takes on the Equalizer, and it's Carolina Crusher against USA 1. Scott Douglas, Army Armstrong, and Chris Chapman coming to you from Flemington, New Jersey. where the superstars of monster truck racing, led by the Gravedigger, take to the track to go side by side now in elimination bracket racing, drag-style racing, as we'll see the Gravedigger take on the Wild Hair. Fast qualifier is the Digger, but Wild Hair is looking pretty good tonight, too.
Well, quick qualifier, legal is the Digger. We got two trucks that'll run quicker. They're going to be coming, working their way through the bottom of the field, but right now Anderson's got his hands full with starving Marvin Smith. Smith's hungry. He wants Anderson big time. Side by side, Anderson comes down. Oh, we've got problems on Anderson. Scott, can you tell what the problem is?
Well, stuff is flying off the Gravedigger truck. It looks like the
drive shaft. We're getting the drive shaft word.
Yep, the slip yoke, the short shaft is gone. Watch it here. Here you'll see it, Army. There the sparks just starting to shear off.
Okay, now these trucks run safety loops, so that contains the shaft from flying out, but that is a bad sign.
Army, Dennis is about done. Work your way over there and see if you can find out what happened to it. Let's go to Army.
Well, this could be a classic case of a man that won the battle but lost the war. Dennis Anderson, we understand you are not going to be coming back with the Gravedigger.
No, I'm not. And that's pretty sad, too, you know, because that I feel like the left lane is the best lane to be shooting out of. I ran hard to earn that lane, and I told the guys after I qualified that my name's on that lane all night long, and then I come back the first round and split the transmission housing open on the truck, so we won't be able to make it back, and so they're over thrashing on the truck right now, but you know, Marvin gets to come back and take my place because I broke, but you know, those fast rides ended quick.
You seem tired. You really do tonight. I know, you guys have been thrashing, you're chasing these guys, trying to put wins under your belt. This piece is the first time it's ever broken on the truck. I've never seen that little short shaft break before.
Yeah, we were just talking about that last week, you know, and we have replaced slip yokes and stuff like that when they get wore out, you know, and I told the guys in the shop there last week, I said, you know, this is the only thing in the last 2 years that hasn't, you know, that hadn't broke on this truck. I guess it kind of put the hex on me tonight. From now on, I won't brag on any part on that truck.
Bad break for Dennis Anderson, and again, even though the others had 3-second penalties, he was competitive time-wise with Bigfoot and with Equalizer, even if you take those penalties off, although he wouldn't have been fast qualifier. So real bad break for Dennis. Now the Bigfoot 8 back in side-by-side competition.
Andy Brad said the truck lands like a sponge and it sticks. That's exactly what's happened. He was in trouble at half-track. Meanwhile, the Clydesdale's all over the track, but Andy Brass literally had to backpedal, take the brake, and hit the throttle again in order to take the win. That truck is not handling right yet, Scott.
Clydesdale has been disqualified, and Bigfoot barely was legal. Let's watch the run.
Okay, watch between the jumps. Bigfoot, he's on the gas right now. He's throttled up, but at this point, he tags the brake, now nails the throttle again. Clydesdale sees Bigfoot having trouble. He's going after his throat. It's not going to work.
Right you are, Army. Matter of fact, here comes Andy Brass your way now.
Andy, the chassis seemed to have a little bit of flex in it or twist in it in qualifying, and it still seems to be there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's right. The frame's flexing a lot. You know, I think a lot of it is just the cars. You know, the truck's moving to the cars. We're getting a big hole at the end, and the truck's kind of following the hole and it's throwing off, you know, one side or the other, and it's causing us to have to really counter-react in it in between the cars, and right now it's slick, and it, you know, whatever adjustment you're making, you're sliding out there.
The Clydesdale disqualified, and that's bad news for Bennett Clark because he doesn't even have a chance to come back as a fast loser in the quarterfinal round. The disqualification means he is done for the night. But not before he left us with the crunch of the week.
Hold on to your seats. It's time for another amazing Crunch of the Week. Brought to you by Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
Army, let's keep our eyes on the right-hand side of the screen. Bennett Clark's Clydesdale Chevrolet.
Watch the driver. Look how he's moving around up in there.
Boy, and when he lost it, he was gone. Yeah. Luckily for Andy Brass, he got a good shot into the second set of cars. If he would have been there, the Clydesdale would have carried him on into the second turn over there.
That was a whole lot. That replay shows me a whole lot more than I noticed at first. Bennett Clark did a great job of driving. He did some good recovery work there.
On the Crunch of the Week. Maybe a slick track was the problem for Clydesdale. Let's find out with Chris Chapman.
Why were you disqualified?
Well, they watered the track down right in between the cars. It's real slick. And when I got in the flat and went for high gear, the truck kind of turned to the right, and I couldn't get it back in time. So I couldn't make that sharp a turn and hit the cars without turning over, maybe. So I just went the direction I was going.
You know, Scott, that's a strong possibility. If we look at the track, they did water it down. That could be a player. But we're going to find out right now if that's the case. Two probably the wildest trucks on the circuit. One a Chevrolet, one a Ford, one out of New Jersey, one out of New York. These guys are hungry hombres. If that track's slippery, they're going to show it.
John Kwasniewski's Buffalo Trevor on the left, Mike Wine, the Outlaw, on the right, and the Outlaw continues his outstanding work of recent with a victory.
Boy, if you're going to do good, your own home state's the place to do it, isn't it, Scott?
I'll tell you. And, you know, Mike Wine is really on a high right now. He didn't win last week, but in his mind, he retired Bigfoot number 4. He beat the 4 truck the last time it ran, and now he wants a shot at the 8 truck. Here he comes as we look at the replay once again. As you'll see, it was an easy win for the Outlaw. Mike Wine with Army.
Wine travels all over America. This is the closest he ever gets to race at home. Mike, we're just telling the people this is as close as you're going to get to home, and it looks like you kind of got that home court advantage going for you. It looks good tonight.
This is great. The truck's running great and everything. You know we got the new alcohol motor in it. Last week I hit the wall in Myrtle Beach. I was a little disgusted on it. We went home, did a new tranny, had to rebuild the whole front end. I'm not be home in 2 years. I'm pumped. This is fantastic.
Good luck to you. You're still in the middle of this thing.
Thank you very much. I'm going all the way for it tonight, Army.
Walking on a cloud, Mike Wine's Outlaw. Still to come in the first round, the Auto Value King Krunch. Scott Stevens brings it out of Texas. We'll see the Equalizer in Greg Holbrook. Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher. And back in action, Steve Wilke's USA 1. With the Major League of Monster Truck Racing, the TNT Monster Truck Challenge, John Moore staging his no-problem Ford Bronco, where he'll take on Dave Weizorek's Nightlife Chevrolet. Now, you know, in the last couple of weeks here on TuffTrax, we've seen David Morris, the '89 world champion, driving that truck. But John Moore's back in it tonight.
John, tell us about the change back in the drivers. What's going on?
Well, it was nice having off last week. But it's getting a little late in the points this year, and David felt he had a little trouble trying to steer the truck and control it. So I took the job back over again, and like I say, we're getting a little late in the points for Dave to try and come back on the truck and get used to it. We might not have a chance getting up in the 10.
Do you believe there's a possibility he could come back?
Yes, there's nothing said that Dave can't come back, and maybe if we stick it out through the winter, he might be back in 91 driving it.
So John Moore giving you the explanation, but he is indeed back in the no-problem Ford Bronco.
Well, you know, Scott, the rumor mill has it that David Morris is still looking at another ride in a monster truck. It's a Ford, but it's a blue one. Let's go to the race at hand. Chevrolet and Ford.
Boy, a photo finish at the end, but Nightlight pulls it out by a whisker. Great race. Very, very close. Let's watch it on the replay, and I think we'll find out there that the Nightlife Chevrolet ekes this one out, Army.
Boy, going head-to-head, two of the strongest privateers in the sport. Like I say, one is Chevrolet, one is a Ford. They both do all their own work. It doesn't get a whole lot closer than this. It looks like synchronized monster truck jumping right now.
Wow, look how close. But the win goes to Dave Weiczorek.
Dave Weiczorek, the word we get from control is about 3 inches with the margin of victory.
That's close. That's awful close. I don't know. I did the best I could. The track's real fast. When you come out that first set of cars, you're getting a bad bounce. And as you can see on right now from the way everybody's running, everybody's losing it on that first set on the right-hand side.
If you had to do it again, would you go back to the same lane or make a lane choice? Difference.
If I had a different lane, I'd take that left lane. It's a lot smoother coming off that first set. It must be the drop between the ramp and the cars, and everybody's getting that bad bounce. Foot's even doing it, so I don't feel so bad.
So you see things going to change around. That Gravedigger can't just control that lane all night since he's now out of competition.
He brought an interesting point. We're going to watch here. All these new trucks with the new chassis and the old chassis are having problems in the right lane.
Army, grab your radio there. Scott Stevens and Crash Ford will be talking. Let's get Army in there on the conversation as King Krunch is ready.
Run as hard as you can. Be careful.
On a run.
I think maybe I should have left a little bit harder.
Equalizer certainly looks good now after a dismal qualifying round. Army's now over with Greg Holbrook.
Greg, we got a word just a minute ago that you guys were thrashing back in the pit area. Something to do with the transmission. You got problems? No, we had a brake shield break on that first run. There's a hole in that first set of cars in the left lane, and we got over in it. Hit the second set of cars crooked, and it knocked the brake shield up with the brake, and we just had to fix that.
Everything looking okay for the next round?
Yeah, we're going to have to run that left lane. It looks like, the right lane all night long, because we got the slowest qualifier because of getting crooked on the first set. But we had a good run that time. Our truck does good usually in the worst lane, so we're going to sock it to them.
Holbrook talking about those worst lane situations. He knows he's got to be in one tonight. Again, back to qualifying because he got the disqualification, the 3-second penalty. Now he's going to be a slower qualifier. That puts him in the bad lane all night long. The most consistent truck on the tour, maybe the Carolina Crusher. He's running USA 1 and beating him.
Yeah, Scott, that consistency you talk about is paying dividends tonight for the Carolina Crushers. Meanwhile, look on the other end of the track. The safety barrier. You know, it seems like they would have learned something in Myrtle Beach about putting vehicles at the end of the track. These trucks are going to get quicker as the night goes on. That could definitely be a problem. I don't think any major damage now. Crew members going to check it out, but believe me, that could be a problem before we leave this town.
Of course, the big difference, though, at least these cars are sitting there to serve as barricades. The only thing is they may end up flat if they're going to serve as barricades as these trucks continue to quicken their pace throughout the evening. And those on the right lane may get some wild runs because Bigfoot and Equalizer are due to be there most of the night. Well, there you see the work being done to the USA 1 truck. Hey, and thumbs up, everything's okay, except his head. Ouch.
Well, Gary Porter, there's no such thing as an easy round in this type of competition, is there?
It's sure, and the competition out here with TNT is getting tougher and tougher each weekend. And, you know, really the truck that I have here, you know, is a year old, and I really, you know, feel fortunate to win a race.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but the truck keeps winning, and when it doesn't win, it runs up in the top 5 and keeps you up in, you know, in this championship point chase.
It does. You know, the truck's really surprised me this year. I had no idea that I would be doing as good as I am this year, you know, with this truck. It's the heaviest truck running the circuit, and but the truck, you know, it just seems to run a straight course. You know, it always seems to stay straight with me.
Steve Wilke, the USA 1 pilot, looking down the track as he is getting ready. Now understand that he'll be having a chance to come back later as a fast loser. But what's everybody looking at? The bad lane. The one they're going to have to try and deal with. Wild Hair against Bigfoot. That means Bigfoot's probably going to be in the bad lane. Our second matchup of the quarterfinals will send Nightlife up against the Auto Value King Krunch. We move down to our final 2 matchups in the quarterfinals, and it'll be Equalizer against Carolina Crusher to be followed by the matchup between the Outlaw and the second fastest loser. There you see him, the USA 1 truck. That means Steve Wilke against Mike Wine, and you know these are 2 guys who are never at a loss for words.
Hey, TuffTrax fans, when you come back, you're going to see the USA 1 Chevrolet up against the Jersey Outlaw, and it's going to be a battle, so stay tuned.
We'll be right back. Steve thinks he's got me in a quarterfinal round. Wrong. It's Ford versus Chevrolet. Ford with a brand new motor. Chevrolet's been running great all this year until he met the Outlaw. I got him. Next round, he's going down.
There it is, Bigfoot number 8 and Andy Brass out of St. Louis, Missouri. His opponent will be Marvin Smith and the Wild Hair as we move into the quarterfinal round. Lots of pressure on Bigfoot. He knows he's in a bad lane, but knowing he has to make up 80 points on the Equalizer, every single run is critical.
Scott, the bad part of the lane we keep talking about is at the end of the first set of cars. He can beat the problem if he jumps the first set of cars. He tried it. Again, he's in trouble. There it is again. Back on the throttle. Marvin Smith. Who won it? I couldn't tell.
I don't think Bigfoot got up on the cars. He's going to be disqualified after getting thrown to the right. And Marvin Smith will come up with an upset victory over Bigfoot 8. And I think it's going to go down as a disqualification, which means he's definitely out for the night.
Again, watch Brass. He's trying to clear the first set of cars. It doesn't settle right. The rear end comes around. And he tags the brake. Nails the throttle. Not going to work. Smith is coming like a fast-moving freight.
Well, Marvin Smith actually lost twice, if you want to look at this as a loss in terms of getting across the finish line, but he's still going into the semifinals in the Wild Hair Chevrolet. And in the meantime, the much heralded return of Bigfoot number 8 comes to a very premature ending. Marvin Smith is out, but Chris is over to talk with Andy Brass.
Andy, that hole got you twice.
Yeah, it did. You know, it's just something we've been trying to figure out. You know, I pulled this side, tried to pull a little bit this way, and it was just a little bit too much, I guess.
What about next time here on TuffTrax? Is there going to be any type of major change with Bigfoot 8, or are you just going to try to ride it out?
We're just going to try to ride it out right now. You know, we're out here on a big tour, and so it's going to be a little while. It's a little hard to work on the truck. You know, we're out here hitting show after show after show, so it's just we're trying to make adjustments on it and try to get used to the track. You know, we've been out for 2.5 months, and it's kind of hard on me and the truck.
Any messages for your Bigfoot 8 fans across the country?
Yeah, I think just hang in there and be patient with me. We'll get back in the winner's circle, I'm sure of it.
Andy Brass and Bigfoot 8.
Scott, I tell you, the problem is not where he thinks it is. The problem is in the left and right movement of the suspensions. The hole had nothing to do with it. The rear end is turning. They've got to get that figured out. Now, here's a truck that's running the same chassis that won the World Championship and has been upside down more than anybody, going up against a hometown boy. You talk about a crowd favorite, it's got to be the Outlaw.
USA 1 in the bad lane. Oh, the Outlaw is dead in the water. Steve Wilke wins it in USA 1 as the Outlaw died on the first set of cars.
Oh, such a tough break. Well, Mike Wine, he was talking the talk, but he's not able to walk the walk as USA 1 will walk over into the next round.
A broken drive shaft eliminates the Outlaw on his home turf. You see the sparks there. That tells the story. USA 1 kind of squirrely on the run, but it didn't matter. He made it a legal run, and Steve Wilke will work his way into the semifinal round. Right now, Army Armstrong is working his way over to talk to Steve Wilke.
Steve, what's it feel like out there?
It's pretty slick, Army. The True Value Mass Mechanic Chevrolet is making so much power tonight that when I come out the first stack, I really got to drive it around. Against Carolina Crusher, I was in and out. She come out straight, but anytime you lift in this sport, you're going to lose. And I made it a close race at Carolina, and I banged it a little harder against Jersey Outlaw. The mid-range seems to be drying up a little bit, but she looks good, and we're going to hammer it, and we're ready.
The word from Steve Wilke. You know, earlier the Outlaw made a lot of noise, but it won't make the semifinal. More quarterfinal action is coming your way on TuffTrax.
For the countless people that cannot read, it's like a chronic pain.
New Jersey, we know that Wild Hair will race USA 1 in one semifinal. The other two semifinalists about to be determined. This is quarterfinal round action between the Auto Value King Krunch and Nightlife.
Well, I don't know. At half track, I would have given it to Nightlife, but I believe that where we're getting the Auto Value GMC, nobody, these guys are getting so quick, and as soon as they go across the finish line, they're looking for holes to hide in so they won't hit anything down there. Look at that. Skeeter's jumped left, Nightlife went right. Who was the winner, Scott? I still don't know.
It was the Auto Value King Krunch. Watch at the end, though, Army. I think Weiczorek had it, but for some reason veers way right at the end. Now look, way off to the right.
You're right. Scott Stevens stayed straight. Again, the lane, the right lane on the camera right now is the place to be if you're going to play this game tonight.
Army, here comes Scott Stevens. Let's see what he's got to say.
Got the replay we're looking at says you by about 6 inches. You told me over the radio you thought you leaned the motor out. What does that mean in layman's terms?
Well, we were trying to really gear up that round for Equalizer because we, Dave's beat us a lot this year, but we kind of got a handle on that lane. We ran real quick all night. It's probably not enough fuel right now. Just it's not responsive enough. It's kind of a happy medium right there. We're not worried about it. We know we're pretty lean. The motor's running real hot. We'll fatten her up a little and go back to basically the setup we had in the first round against Equalizer. Maybe I can get off the line a little better. Our truck's working really good tonight, so it's all up to me right now. Thank you.
Scott Stevens from Woodlands, Texas, and the Auto Value King Krunch. Here's Gary Porter bringing out the Carolina Crusher. He'll go up against the Equalizer and Greg Holbrook. Now remember, because of Equalizer's penalty in qualifying, like Bigfoot, he is forced into the bad lane because he actually had a slower qualifying time.
The interesting thing here is Scott Stevens is already talking about, he's going to the next round, he's already talking about running the Equalizer like the Carolina Crusher is not even anywhere in the state of New Jersey, and that is far from the case. Gary Porter can make life awfully tough on the Equalizer. He is. Look at this, guys.
It is the Carolina Crusher. And hold on, Greg Holbrook, a wild ending as the Equalizer is beaten, Bigfoot is beaten, and both in the quarterfinal round. Can you believe how early the two glamour marquee names are out today?
Well, that is amazing. The replay comes up. One of the things I'm watching again, these trucks get quicker and quicker. And at the end of the track, right here, you got to be wondering, where am I going to put this thing? Both trucks are trying to figure out. One goes left, one goes right. But the big story is Scott Stevens is not going to be racing who he thought he was. I don't know who will get the lane choice. That next race could determine the winner here tonight.
A bad hop and a pop at the end.
Where we were getting was Crusher by a hood length, but your engine made a real weird 3 pops right at the end of the run. What was that from?
Where I had it to the floor, it was just hitting up against the rev limiter.
Just, I mean, you were just, all your cars went down and you just didn't win it.
No, it took another bad hop on that first set of cars, but if I had a couple more runs, I could get it out, but I'm not going to tonight.
What's the problem with the right lane? You and Bigfoot both have been snake bitten coming out of that right lane.
The leaf spring trucks are doing okay with it, but our suspensions, where they're so independent, the tires just follow the contours of the car, and when they drop off in a hole, that's where they go.
Well, you hear the word and you see the hole that has done both Bigfoot and Equalizer in tonight. Let's look at the way we'll match them up for the semifinal round, the final 4. It's Wild Hair with the upset win over Bigfoot to take on USA 1. Coming back as a fast loser, USA 1 still alive. And the bottom half, it'll be the Carolina Crusher taking on another truck that got back to the fast loser rule, the Auto Value King Krunch. Television's most power-packed hour, TuffTrax. The TNT Monster Truck Challenge is in Flemington, New Jersey. The semifinal round, it's Steve Wilke's USA 1 going up against Wild Hair. Both of these trucks lost earlier tonight. Wild Hair got back because the truck that beat him broke, the Gravedigger. USA 1 came back as a fast loser. One of them going to the Monster Smash final.
Wilke with USA 1 has the right lane figured out. He's going to the final, but right now, he's got his hands full trying to stop. Whoa, he doesn't do it.
He ran into the barrier cars at the end of the track, but he's okay as the barrier cars did their job, kept him from going through the fence at the end of Flemington Speedway. Steve Wilke's USA 1 will go to the Monster Smash final.
You know, Scott, the replay comes up. One of the things I've always noticed about this truck, it does not brake as quick as other trucks. I don't know why, but you watch him, he's bouncing. Brakes are no good while he's up in the air. Now he gets it to settle down, hits the brake.
Army, here comes Steve Wilke.
Steve Wilke, it's not old news. You've been here before, but it's been a while. It's final time. You're going to be one of 2.
Yeah, Army, True Value Chevrolet, she's been running pretty good tonight. Track's a little greasy. She's coming around in the mid-range, but I've been able to make enough power in the top end to walk away. If I can keep it fairly straight coming off the top end, or the first stack there on the top end, I think I can beat him.
Steve Wilke in USA 1 impressively coming back after the disaster of Richmond a while back on TuffTrax. He has worked his way tonight on his return into the Monster Smash final, although the barrier cars at the end certainly saved him from some problems at the end of this run. Army Armstrong right now is going to grab a communication radio and talk to Scott Stevens as the Auto Value King Krunch is ready to race.
You see what they're calling the hole from where you're sitting right now. Can the driver actually see the hole you're trying to miss?
Yeah, you're basically starting off about a foot to the left. That way I'm anticipating the truck to go back just a little. Did we win? Yeah. King Krunch is going to keep them tail in Flemington, New Jersey.
Scott Stevens is pumped up as the Auto Value King Krunch. You heard him say they're kicking some tail in Flemington, and indeed, they've beaten the Carolina Crusher, and Krunch is going into the Monster Smash final. What a run. You see he beat the Carolina Crusher by, again, less than 6 inches.
Okay, let's talk about the track specifically. Lane choice. Who's going to get it in this round?
I'm not even for sure. It looks like it don't matter right now. I can run in either lane. You know, I kind of watched everybody all night. I knew that they were bouncing to the right. You know, like I told you, I started off a foot to the left. You know, truck went to the right just like I figured it would. But that was a good straight pass. We've been having steering problems the whole month of June. You know, did a few changes. We're still not right, but, you know, we're getting there. Truck's going to be back.
Army, it's so interesting to note that the only trucks that had problems with that right lane were the radical design trucks, the Equalizer and the Bigfoot.
Yeah, the final is set up, and in order to get to the final, you had to win out of the bad lane.
They both did it, the Auto Value King Krunch and USA #1. Well, Gary Porter's looked at that timing tape several times. Here he goes to Chris.
Gary, after reviewing the timing tape, do you still feel the same way?
You know, I knew it was a very close race, and I just wanted to watch the tape to make sure, and after watching it, you know, there's no question about it. He beat me by maybe 6 inches.
How does that make the old heart feel?
It's a really let down. You know, I was hoping to make it to the finals and, you know, maybe take home a win tonight, but it just wasn't my night. I'll be back again tomorrow.
Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher, knocked out by the Auto Value King Krunch. And now Krunch gets ready to go up against the USA 1 truck in the Monster Smash Final. It's next here on TuffTrax.
Between USA 1 and King Krunch.
Set to go in the Monster Smash Final with the Auto Value King Krunch, Scott Stevens from Woodlands, Texas, and from Hamlin, Minnesota, the truck that won it all in '88, the USA 1 truck, the Chevrolet of Steve Wilke. The Monster Smash Final ready to go, and it's showtime.
Both drivers running up over the first shot. Wilke looks like he moved first. He's down that right lane. Scott, the winner, comes out of the main lane. Now can he stop it?
Yes, he can. No, I thought he had her stopped. He took the car through the fence, but the USA 1 truck has come away with the win.
That's called driving it out the back door to take a big win.
And a big win it is. Boy, you talk about rebuilding confidence, about pumping up a race team that needed to be pumped back up. Steve Wilke and USA 1 left Richmond, Virginia in a shambles. They returned to TNT Racing, and they made it to the top, winning the Monster Smash Final convincingly over the Auto Value King Krunch.
Look at the chassis on the truck. Handles completely different than anybody else. I'm saying that because of the bounce.
Well, we knew that fence was in a bad spot when this night started, and it ends up biting the dust as going into the cars and then the fence. Steve Wilke.
Listen to the crowd. USA! USA! How about it, Scott? These New Jersey people are having a ball.
And they're loving it. Your winner, Steve Wilke, the USA 1 Chevrolet. He's out of the truck right now and accepting the accolades of the crowd. Scott Stevens now over to shake hands. Great race, and the Auto Value King Krunch had an outstanding night as well. And again, interesting to note that both these trucks lost earlier, but they learned from their losses, and USA 1 wins it. Wilke will be now working his way over. So will Scott Stevens get over to talk to Army Armstrong about a great Monster Smash Final. Let's go down to Army and see what they've got to say.
In Flemington, New Jersey, either one of these guys literally could have gone bear hunting with a swish tonight. That was a double throwdown run. I think anybody had a shot. It was just the brakes went his way.
Yeah, USA 1 was really doing good coming back from the wreck they had a few weeks ago over in Richmond, you know. Wilke had it, you know, really going good, and I thought I had a good advantage. I put him in the bad lane, but I kind of knew the bad lane wasn't a bad lane because we beat Carolina out of it. But he was running good and getting quicker every pass, and, you know, I just can't make no excuses. His truck was working good, ours was working good. We were just off for a little bit tonight.
Yeah, nothing to be ashamed of. You got another shot next week here in New Jersey. We're going to let you get back to the crew, but we're going to talk to Steve. Everybody knew it was a short course, but you're the only guy that kept running into stuff on the other end. Why would your truck not stop?
Well, it's not the fact that it wouldn't stop, Army. I just don't get out of it until I'm across the finish line. I'll tell you what, in 1990 here outdoors, we're going to put one together, Army. We have to.
Well, let's take a look at the way the point standings are after this one. Equalizer has a bad day, but Bigfoot didn't gain any ground. Nothing much changes on top. For Army and Chris, I'm Scott Douglas. See you next week on TuffTrax.